I love that our opening is Todd brushing his beard. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Hope everybody's good. Giving everybody a couple minutes to check in. Chat box is on the side. You'll be able to comment. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, all those fun things. Exciting week for the Texans, so I guess we'll get started. Who did we lose? Where's Matt?
Did you go live on the Fan Battle podcast or the group?
Yeah, should be live everywhere.
Oh,
We got two Matts. Where's Chris Jackson?
He's here.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I'm here.
No, I'm looking for Chris Jackson before I start talking. Harish, make sure you press record and we'll get this going. All right, there you are. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast, sponsored by Sports Host. My name is Samantha Wernette, and I am hosting this evening, but co-hosting with me is Harish Nukala.
What's going on, guys?
Before we start this episode, I do want to mention our sponsor, Sports Host, and let you know they are currently looking for content creators to build an app, to help build their app. It's an app founded for fans, by fans. There's a lot of excitement happening on there because you can see sports around the world. But if you're a fan of a sport of any professional team, whether that be cricket or soccer, it doesn't matter, football, they are looking for people to earn income and write content for their app. So if you have any questions or if you're interested in it, check on the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast page or reach out to me, Harish, or Matt, and we'll give you further information. With that being said, introducing our commentators for this evening. Representing the Titans, we have Ray Cherry.
What up, what up, what up? Undefeated.
I hate hearing that. It's terrible. Representing the Texans, we have Matt Briggs.
So my hashtag worked last week with Fire Bill O'Brien. So hopefully this one will work. Hire Eric Beninu. Please,
Oh.
God.
Representing the Jaguars, we have Todd Clary.
Hey, what's up? Just because you use a hashtag for like 3 years worth of weeks and it finally pays off doesn't mean it worked.
Oh, I don't
Hey,
know,
God.
Todd, because there's a hashtag behind you.
Right, you put some respect on his name, sir.
There's a hashtag behind you, so maybe you should speak it into existence.
It says hashtag defund Todd Wash, and there's a little L in parentheses because apparently everybody in this group thinks it's Walsh, which, I mean, it's fitting to smash an L right in between his last name. And then I met one precocious fan who said that's how much he doesn't like him. He doesn't even say his name right. So I was like, I respect that.
Well, the Walsh, the L is for losing. But
I think everybody out there got that, Sam. But thanks for.
you'd be surprised. We have Titans fans watching. Okay. Representing the Colts this evening, we have Chris Jackson.
Number one defense, baby. That's all you need to know.
There's a lot of irony in that statement, considering you guys lost to the Jaguars. But anyways, moving on. There's been some.
I'm sorry,
major-
Dolphins say what?
No comment.
They
Bengals say what?
They don't speak anything.
No comment. There's been some major news in the AFC South this week. Of course, we all know the COVID situation with the Titans, and we'll touch on that later. But first and foremost, we need to talk about the 0-4 Texans winning their Super Bowl. And by that, I mean firing Bill O'Brien. Firing Bill O'Brien was the Texans' Super Bowl, and they won it, even being 0-4. So a couple weeks ago, we had this guy on as a guest host, and we talked heavily on it, and here it's happened. So we asked him to come back on and talk about this topic. So from Texans Unfiltered, we have Patrick Storm. How you doing, Patrick?
I am doing fantastic.
I bet you are.
Very,
I'm sure.
very well said.
It's
So, give us
been a
brief.
couple days.
Yeah, briefly give us some details about what happened, because I was reading rumors that possibly there was a situation that could have occurred, which made it so sudden. Give us your what have you heard? What's going on over there?
So it kind of actually dates back to week 2. Prior to week 2, during practice, there was on the practice field incident between Bill and a few players. And then it escalated between Bill and other coaches. and obviously ownership was made aware of it. And so that's when Jackie Easterby gets involved. And here recently, dating back to the Hopkins trade, they did not see eye to eye on a lot of things. And so here comes their disconnect, right? And they're supposed to be friends, like their time ties back to New England. And they're supposed to be really good friends, but things went sour. So week 2, we have players and coaches fighting. And then at that point, the locker room just starts to lose faith in them. And they lose week 3. And then, he comes in week 4 and he says that he's going to take over the play calling.
I saw that.
So Tim Kelly is supposedly still going to be involved. One thing that I don't know a lot of people didn't notice, but Tim Kelly wasn't even on the sideline Sunday. He was up in the booth. So he was supposed to be watching from the booth and helping coordinate the game, kind of. And then, the first half starts and they look terrible. Deshaun looked bad. Nothing working. They're still trying to establish the run when they couldn't. And so they go into the half. Obviously, everyone's frustrated because they're still losing. They come out with a better game plan for the second half. And we saw a much better offense in the second half, right? They started to put up some points. Deshaun rallies. He starts to make, really good throws. But they still lose, right? They come up short. Will Fuller, I thought it was a touchdown, but, obviously they get paid a lot more money than I do to control the game, and they ruled it was an incomplete pass, so the Texans lose. Then post-game, Deshaun and JJ do their interviews, and I saw there was one of the radio hosts that did a really interesting detail on JJ Watt's interviews over the years. He went back and kind of plucked some interviews from over the years, and JJ's response time, like the length of his response, went from like an average of almost a minute to this season of like something like 20 something seconds. And that you obviously could tell by looking at his face and his demeanor that he was very upset. Deshaun said something along the lines of, "I'm not going to let it steal my joy. I'm still going to, I'm just going to be happy playing football." But they had a meeting, the players did, with Cal McNair, and they just kind of laid it out there on the table that something had to change. And Cal took that to his mom, who is still the owner of the team, and the decision was made that they would have to go in a different direction. And so we found out yesterday that Bill O'Brien was no longer going to be the head coach or the GM.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I actually sent that article when it came out on ESPN about Bill O'Brien play calling. We have like an admin chat, and I sent it to them, and I just wrote LOL. Like, what else is he going to do? The joke last year was like, he's the GM, head coach, head chef, personal trainer. Like, what else is this guy going to do? And then this news comes out. I know him and Doug Marrone are longtime best friends. I'll cry if he ends up in Jacksonville. I'm not going to lie. But,
We'll enjoy it.
oh, no. No,
So,
Don't you wish that evil on me, Ricky Bobby?
Well, Patrick,
just-
who do you give us a quick? I know you got to run because you got your podcast coming up. But give us a quick, who do you think? Who do you think they're picking up?
I mean, there's going to be a ton of names, right? Obviously, you're going to have, with Jack Easterby still staying on board for the time being, hopefully. That's all it is to keep some stability, because I feel like if he stays long term, he has this reputation of being a snake, and that this was a power play, and it could just be, hired Josh McDaniels, and the same story writes itself for the next 5 years. But, Eric Bieniemy, Greg Roman, Dabo's name obviously is going to get involved with it. There's going to be a ton of names, but we're 13 weeks from the end of the season, 14 weeks before any of this really gets heated up. But yeah, that's the direction I would go, would be Eric Bieniemy. We've seen what he's done with Patrick Mahomes, excuse me. And we know that he has had a ton of interviews over the past few years, never gotten a coaching offer. But I think that this is the year. And if they do that, I think that the GM should be a guy by the name of Mike Borgonzi, who is he's like the director of player personnel in Kansas City. He's been with the team for over 10 years. Well known for his scouting talents and stuff like that. And I mean, we've seen what he's done.
That's what we were talking. Me and Dylan, the other Texans mod in the chat, we were both saying the same thing. That's our wish list, is for him to be the GM. You know, of course, Bieniemy to be the head coach. And I know it's not going to happen, but we want Tony Romo as the OC. But we all know Tony Romo's not going to leave that comfortable job.
Heck no.
Up at the booth.
Yeah.
Well,
like with
Pat-
Dabo too. Like obviously they're going to make that phone call and try to convince Dabo to come, but he's got 3 kids that are going to Clemson right now. There's just like a 1% chance that Dabo leaves Clemson. So, but Tony Elliott would be the name to watch out of Clemson. He's the offensive coordinator. He worked with Deshaun while they were there. Highly regarded, and so that if they do pluck a college coach, that would be my.
I've also heard the defensive coordinator from Clemson as well, that they're going.
No, please. He's going to the University of Texas, but that's a different conversation.
Well, you know, Pat, like I said, I know you got to run, but I do know that there's a guy that could possibly be available. He really likes bologna sandwiches. His name's Doug Marone. You guys can call him
Nope.
anytime. We'll give you money.
Nope.
I'll give you money to take
They'll
him.
give you some Skittles.
That was so. One thing that I made this joke earlier. Jacksonville, like the Calais Campbell trade, did they just like take, like they have a dartboard and just have all the teams and say we're gonna our 5th round pick to Baltimore?
Yeah, you know what? You know what was on the tip of? You know what was on the
Why?
tip of those darts, Pat?
What?
On the tip of those darts was a 26-year season ticket holder's dignity. That's me. With the darts gone with every 5th round pick.
So by the way, the Texans' first win comes this week. I'm calling it right now
Oh,
because you cannot tell me that the Jack roster is more talented than the Texans.
So,
I'll know what happens when a head coach gets fired. That team gets a fire lit under their ass.
so Pat, on the podcast when we do rival games, we usually do a bet. Are you willing to make a bet with Sam or
yes,
Todd?
Pat, please. Profile pick bet, please. Please.
That's fine because we did that in one of the
days.
other groups, and I will do it
7
for
days.
sure. For
As long, 7 days.
okay,
Profile pick.
deal.
It can't
Imagine
be
being
inappropriate.
having Gardner Minshew as the Texans writer. That's awkward.
What did you say, Pat?
Pick your picture, and you can pick mine.
Yep. I already have it too. I photoshopped a Gardner Minshew is my daddy picture. I'm ready.
No.
Oh, she was waiting for this one.
Names.
Say it one more time. I'm
Because
sorry.
I love me a Mitch T. Firkins picture.
Oh.
So
Oh,
Oh, hey.
I
right.
love
I'm ready. I'm ready.
the stands, shirtless, beers in hand. Like,
You know,
I would delete my entire profile.
Yeah, nobody will be
Oh,
able to
that's
find me.
good.
I'll look for it and I'll send it to Matt. I'm pretty sure I still have mine stuck in there. I mean, I've had all 3 other teams. I've had the Colts, the Jags, and the Titans, so it doesn't
Well-
hurt my feelings.
Well, Pat, we thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate having you, and everybody make sure you tune in with the, especially Texans fan, to Texans Unfiltered. And like always, thanks, and we hope to see you again.
Go Texans.
Thanks,
I
Pat.
hope to have that
See
profile
you, Pat.
picture by the end of the week.
0-5. Have fun.
Please no.
All right. Well, Matt, we just talked a lot about the Texans game. Give us like a 1-minute synopsis and move on. Just give us a really fast recap, and then we'll move on to the next team.
same thing like I said last week. If you want to see a recap, go into your kitchen or to your bathroom, look at the trash can, And there you go. There's the play of the Houston Texans. This trash. I mean, like Pat said, Deshaun Watson came out looking horrible, still holding the ball too long. Everybody was excited that we came back and got into the game, but it's easy to come back when the Vikings play in prevent defense. I do agree with Pat. I think it was a touchdown. So did the head referee in New York. But like I said, I don't want to get paid for it. So 0-4. I'm glad we lost. That means that Bill O'Brien's gone. So big win.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, that was y'all's Super Bowl for real.
I'll take
Uh,
it.
Well,
You know, I was kind of sad when Gary Kubiak left. I'm not sad at all when Bill O'Brien left.
I am.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm,
I'm sad
I'm
too.
devastated.
Listen,
I'm
listen.
devastated.
I'm telling you, he was 2 weeks away from trading Deshaun for a magical bean. It was inevitable. Like I don't like he was on a mission. Like I generally say that the coordinators that come from New England are sent as double agents to go and just absolutely destroy teams from the inside. But I mean, he did a knock-up job of doing all of that.
That's why I want to stay away from Josh McDaniels. They're all trash. Everybody from New England. That's why I went Eric Bieniemy, because if you look at Andy Reid's coaching tree, it's phenomenal. I mean, one already got the Super Bowl in Philadelphia. The Buffalo Bills head coach, he's undefeated. I mean, Andy Reid's tree is it's amazing. So I want the next one.
Yeah.
well, speaking of dumpster fires, Todd.
fuckers. How you let these Texans sit here and talk all this shit, and then you're, oh, speaking of dumpster fires, I'm gonna...
I never said that we are worse than the Texans. I'm confident that we
fine.
can beat the Texans this week, but listen, I know that we lost Miles Jack. I know that we lost DJ Hayden.
They haven't
Defense-
commented on
defense
his injury
struggled,
as far
but
as I
what
know.
happened?
The Maroon's supposed to say that tomorrow morning.
Say again?
I said I thought Marone was supposed to release the injury and talk about the injuries tomorrow morning.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying during the game. So,
Okay.
but we struggled. And give us your what happened? Why didn't we leave Todd Wash up there? Go ahead. Tell us. what happened.
Khan's not going to fire anybody during the season. And it's just not in his DNA. It's just not what he does. If you were going to fire Todd Wash, you had every chance for the past couple of years. He's kind of like our little Bill O'Brien, bald and stupid and not good at not calling plays. And, you know, what happened was we showed up and we played the other team, and the other team threw the ball everywhere, and we couldn't stop them from doing that. And then they scored more points than us.
The highlight is playing
we
right
did.
now.
We did improve upon one thing, which is what I was screaming, even though I haven't been on the podcast in a few weeks. I've been screaming since week one to stop deferring because our defense is not good at defending. So when you kick the ball to any NFL, when you're not good at defending, they march it right down the field, and then you're down 7-0. And that gives everybody in our stadium, in our fan base, the opportunity to be like, see, man, the offense is garbage. The offense has been playing from behind. Our defense is not very good. That is just a factual thing. And we did lose Jack, sure. After he made the incredible Willie Mays no-look accidental interception, which I call that a Jackcident.
Jackcident.
Hashtag Jackcident. But, you know, it helped. It was good. We did lose him. We didn't have Henderson. We have a 7th-round draft pick who was brought in as the backup kick returner behind D.D. Westbrook, trying to defend NFL wide receivers, which generally bad things are going to happen when you do that. We got Joe Dirt back there, you know, popping yellow zonkers and talking a lot of trash for a guy who's getting beat like a redheaded stepchild. I don't know. That's just me. If I'm Wingard, I probably shut up and like try to make a play. instead of lording over a guy like when you're like, I don't know, down 10 points and you're getting beat left and right all over the field.
It's working for Jalen Ramsey in LA.
What's that?
It's working for Jalen Ramsey in LA.
He doesn't play in this division anymore, and like I don't follow that player anymore.
I used to like
He's
that
doing
woman.
whatever he's doing, fighting with Stefan Diggs, and who cares? So, point is that Jalen Ramsey or not, there's a reason why Jalen Ramsey's not here. You can go back to the podcast in which I explained that thoroughly. And it is because when you play 5 yards off in a soft zone with no pass rush, you never blitz. And the quarterback's back there making a sandwich before he just finds a hole in the zone. I don't care who you are, or who you draft, or who the coach is, or what planet you're on, what Spider-Verse you exist in. You're going to lose football games, and that's what we are doing. Not as efficiently as the Texans. I will give the Texans are at losing football games this year than we are, which I feel like we can improve on. But, time will tell. And Todd Wash got to go. Todd Wash is a holdover who is out there calling X's and O's for guys that he wish he had, but he doesn't have anymore. And you got to go to war with the army that you have, not the army that you want. And I'm not saying that like playing press coverage with these guys is going to turn out any better, but I mean, God, disrupt them. I got an argument with another fellow who does a podcast about Mr. Claybrooks. And, he was talking about how he was actually providing pressure and all that stuff. But, like, if you're going to play 5 yards off in a zone, you got to, like, jam the guys at the line of scrimmage. That's what we used to do when our defense was good. And for all the people that are saying, we don't have a pass rush. Well, yeah, 4 guys against 5 guys and we're running back chipping one of them. That's just math. Like, Josh Allen's not producing. What do you want? You want Lawrence Taylor? I don't understand. I don't understand who you think he's going to be. Just because we drafted him in the first round doesn't make him better than he is. And he doesn't have anybody to compliment him. Taven Bryan's out there being a Gator, and like, who cares? And it's just a recipe for awfulness and sadness. And I feel those things.
I got a question for you.
It was nice to give Joe Burrow his first win. It's good to give to charity sometimes. So
and he can get a win. Who cares? He's in Cincinnati. He's already there. Let him have something. Jesus.
Todd, I got a question for you. So Justin said that he is ready to sell on Gardner Minshew and draft Lawrence. Are you in the same boat, or you want to give him help?
Oh God, here we go.
Who is this person?
Justin Gonzalez.
Oh no.
Somebody named
here
Justin?
we go.
I don't know this person. I think you can pretty much tell from my candor and my expansive vocabulary that I would never utter something that stupid. Idea that Minshew is the future or the franchise, or that he's gonna be fucking Brett Favre tomorrow. But one thing I'm sick of is the term generational talent. I look at Lawrence and I see Blaine Gabbert 2.0 if we can't protect him. What do you want? Deshaun Watson, like, how many years ago did you draft him? And he's so dynamic. He's got a cannon arm and he can run everywhere, and then oops his ACL, and now we're having the conversation where you're firing your GM. So like, what I'm tired of, well, we need a quarterback. No, do you watch the game? He's throwing 350 yards. We're scoring an average of 25 points a game. We're down 14-0 all the time. So unless Trevor Lawrence is going to come in and get a fucking sack or break up a fucking pass, like, I don't want to hear the guy's name. Get the number 1 or number 2 pick football, then you can't screw that up. You obviously Lawrence, okay? It is over. And then you bring Lawrence in, and then you have now we get quarterback controversy. And then it's like, oh, dude, the election's over. Can we stop arguing? Like, can we just have a football game, please? I don't care. Put 2 quarterbacks back there. Put 9 quarterbacks back there. I don't give a shit. Starting quarterback in the NFL on our roster, and we'll run 11 quarterbacks at every defense in the NFL. Who cares? If they score 45 and we score 44, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, what I'm just like, this conversation makes me so fucking mad because Minshew's trash. Minshew is a fucking quarterback. He's throwing the ball to people. They're people running the football. People said James Robinson, who's this guy? We don't have Armstead. Our season's over. Robinson comes out and runs football. Minshew throws passes. Minshew's got 70% accuracy. Minshew's throwing fucking 2.5 touchdowns a game. What more do you want? What do you want? You
now,
want
Todd,
Joe
the
Burrow?
biggest thing.
You want Joe Burrow? Do you want Trevor Lawrence? He's going to be so great. I'm just like, I'm sick of the whole first pick quarterback fucking talk. I'm sick of the $88 million free agent. I'm sick of all this talk about all we need is a quarterback. It's like the most wrong thing that can be said about my football team. And like, I'm tired of the argument. And I know that I'm going to get blown the fuck up for this. I don't care. I'm not here. Friends in my fan base, I don't give a shit. I watch football on my at fucking TV. Sometimes my daughter's here and I cuss a little less, probably not even much. But like, and then I also go to the games and I yell the same shit at the field and I don't know who the people are sitting next to me. So
now,
like,
Todd, I do want to ask you this because the biggest thing I've heard and the biggest
I get it.
The biggest thing I've heard, we'll wrap this up before I just want to recap on the Lot J thing and then move on to the Titans. But the biggest argument I've heard, which I defend, is the fact that the problem with Gardner Minshew is he holds on to the ball too long. Meanwhile, I feel like you kind of have to when you have to scramble out of the pocket because you don't have an offensive line. Give us what's your thoughts on him holding on to the ball?
We don't have wide receivers that can get separation. I mean, they know. The times when Minshew holds the ball too long, our guys are covered up. And if they're not, like, quarterbacks are going to hold the ball too long. Sometimes he's taken a few sacks. He's had a fumble. He's thrown a couple of interceptions. He's not the worst quarterback in the NFL by any fucking means at all whatsoever. We need guys that can get separation. We need an offensive line that can hold the pocket for a minute. And like it or not, when people keep talking about his arm strength and how he's just a dink and dunk kind of guy. Well, I mean, dudes made careers off of being dink and dunk kind of guys. So I say, like, we stick with it, hang out, try to keep the other team from scoring fucking 50. And, we might win. It's the Colts. You know what I mean? We scored 27, they scored 20, we win the game. And then from then on, we've lost by an average of like 4 or 5 points because we can't fucking stop the other team. So
now, the biggest thing, of course, that we've heard for years, even, of course, before the Rams went back to LA and then with the expansion into London games, is the Jaguars are moving to London. The Jaguars are moving to LA. This has always been a narrative. So yesterday, Mayor Lenny Curry of Jacksonville and Shad Khan and the president of the Jaguars got together, and Mark Lamping got together and did a press conference about the renovations to the stadium. It's going to have like an Under Armour entertainment complex. It's like $450 million. So with that being said and all of that we're doing, Todd, are the Jaguars moving?
I don't think so. Jaguars aren't moving until they create 2 or 3 expansion teams. If we're gonna have if the NFL is gonna have a presence in London, they're gonna have more than one team. So this whole thing about one team's gonna fucking Baltimore Colts in the middle of the night and be a London football team is erroneous. I doubt that heavily. It's a gimmick. Playing in London's a gimmick. Playing in Mexico City is a gimmick. And whatever you want to do, that's fine. As far as the team moving, no. And if the team's moving, is going to be the NFL is going to come out and say, we're creating 3 teams, and this other one that's really bad in Jacksonville, we're going to take them, and we're going to have 4 teams in London, and they're going to be their own division, and they're going to play half of their games in London or in England proper, and then just like you'll have one division play against another division in their schedule or whatever, you'll have like one division going out and playing this one, and then they'll trade games back and forth. But I mean, that to me, that's just so, I don't need them to build something at Lot J in the shape of we're not moving. Like we're not
I know.
moving.
Well,
It's
and I know,
stupid.
and it's just like it's almost like exhausting at this point because it's the same old thing. And
Yes.
now here, this guy is dumping $450 million into a stadium he doesn't own, and I'm like, what else do you need to prove it?
If
anything, he'll start another team.
in it. But the point is that like, you know, I understand the opposite side of that conversation, which is okay. Cities spend $450 million, and owners and real estate developers spend $450 million every day, all over the place. That doesn't mean that they're stuck there. There's nothing stopping him from moving the team to London except for, I don't know, the fact that it's a whole nother fucking country and the NFL would have to sign off on it. And like, you know, turns out you can't just like uproot and go move to another country without somebody finding out. You know what I mean? It's not,
Yeah.
this is not Baltimore moving to Indianapolis with, you know, and leaving a couple chairs and a coffee maker behind in Baltimore so they can go start a new franchise. This is where you're talking about air travel over an ocean to get to a place that doesn't necessarily, I'm going to say it, doesn't necessarily want a team. They don't want a team. They want to see NFL football. So
Well,
having
yeah, one of the
a
guys-
team now means that London is stuck all wearing one jersey, and I just don't see it happening. And if it was going to happen, I'm going to say this right now. I know I've said it before, but if you want to move a team to London, you take the Washington football team and you move them over there, call them the fucking Redcoats, and just move it on out. And the Redcoats
Genius.
and the Patriots can play in the Super Bowl every year, and America can win. And that's the only way that I would sponsor another Patriots Super Bowl. I know it's a digression, but it seemed too funny to me not to say it. So.
Yeah, one of our members in the group, he's a Titans fan, but he lives in the UK, and he says that when people go to NFL games in London, they're not Jaguar fans. He goes often, and I guess they're usually Green Bay, New England, Dallas, like the big market teams. Those are the only fans that are there. But anyways, we'll move on from the Jaguars, see what happens. I hope they take the Texans' lead, and even if they don't get rid of Marone, they can get rid of Todd Wash. I'm just saying. Or Walsh.
Walsh. In the
All right,
Northeast,
Harish,
he's
go
referred to
ahead,
as
take
Todd
it over.
Warsh.
Take over the COVID-ridden Titans for us.
All right, let's talk about COVID, the COVID Titans. So it looked like I think it was last Wednesday that there was a report that came out that the Titans had started. Actually, it was earlier in the week. Titans had started to contract players and personnel on their team that had COVID symptoms. It started to go into Tuesday, Wednesday. Ended up that they canceled their game with the Steelers. And now they basically use last week as their bye week, and they play for like 25,000 weeks in a row now. So with that being said, Sherry, what you got for us, man? What's going on in Tennessee? Why can y'all not follow NFL protocols?
Well, we did follow NFL protocols. Just that NFL protocols were not the right type of protocols. They since changed their protocols. But basically what happened was we brought in a safety, Greg Maben, on September 22nd. Work him out. Of course, when you work out a player, your coaches work the player out. And then 2 days later, he pops for COVID. So, boom, we put him on the COVID list. But he's been around the coaches and players for 2 days. All right. Then we notified the NFL. One of our coaches, the defensive play caller, Shane Bowen, he's got COVID. We sent him home. We go to fly to Minnesota, but of course, the exposure's already been set. You put them on a big metal plane together to fly them over. Close vicinity, people start popping. So that's literally what happened. The good thing is,
I have a question.
So
I have a question.
go for it.
I know that they're trying all these experimental things with COVID. Do you think maybe the Titans thought that they were immune because they were trying experimental mayonnaise?
Well, the mayonnaise must work. We beat y'all again. No, but I mean, really, we've been stressed out about it, man. People have been talking about maybe we forfeit some games, we lose some draft picks, forfeit the whole season. So it's been hectic, man. It's been stressful, but we've passed no positive tests past 2 days. So if we didn't get a hit again today, we should be able to go practice tomorrow, and we should be on and going. So
I guess, so real quick, you said that there was a point where they knew that there was somebody that had COVID, but they decided to get on a bus and go to Minnesota.
no, they went on the plane. We know.
So they traveled. So they knew they had it. They traveled.
Well, no, we left the coach that tested positive travel. But there's a 3 to 5 day incubation. All right. So it can pop in any player in 3 to 5 days. Nobody popped that first day but that one coach.
Right.
And the next day, 2 more people popped. The next day, 2 more people popped. I mean, COVID is very transmittable. So, for instance, with Cam Newton, he was the only one that popped. But what the Patriots did was all the players that were with Cam Newton in that vicinity with whatever they do with the watch wristband to see who's been in contact with Cam Newton, Kraft put them on a separate plane to the game. So those 22 players went on a separate plane than the other players. So we'll see what happens with the Patriots. We were the first ones, so we're kind of the guinea pigs. But to say that it's not going to happen to any other team, I doubt that. So it's going to happen more often. So it's just the way how you play it, how it's going to go down. But luckily, it looks like we're over it now. So
basically, it's affecting the whole league because like you said, that safety came in to practice with you guys, and he had COVID. Well, that's the whole reason why the Texans niched Earl Thomas coming in because of the whole
the risk. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I heard it's because
he wanted.
I heard they didn't allow
everything in place. What should have happened, really, what they should have done anyways, but it should have tested him before they even brought him in. And I think the test that they have now, NFL have is like you get tested and you know the results within, I think it's like 15 to 30 minutes. So the tests that the NFL have are pretty quick, but the protocols are just. They weren't set.
I actually heard that the reason why.
Hold on a second. Go for it, Tim.
I actually heard that the reason why the Texans didn't practice Earl Thomas is because he wanted to bring his brother.
I mean,
Wow.
Bro,
Hey, bros.
no thanks. So
Bro code.
better than what we got. So, I mean, I'll take any kind of double team.
Todd, go for it.
Can I have
Todd,
audio where he says he'll take any double team?
Todd, you had something to say. Go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Oh, Mr. Briggs, I'm going to need you to stop trying to pick peanuts out of poop and find something positive about your season. First.
I mean, the truth is in the peanut butter. I mean, we got better. So,
the second thing I want to say is that, like, I get the NFL has protocols, and like, I'm not happy that anybody in Tennessee has the China virus, but the point is that, like, do we need the NFL to have a protocol that says don't bring this person in unless they've been tested negative? I mean, I don't know about you, but
Apparently.
I heard a thing or two about this COVID-19 thing. Apparently it's wild. Apparently it's like highly transmissible. So my question would be, is that if you're going to bring in anybody, if you're going to bring in a coach, I don't care if you're going to bring in trainers, it doesn't matter. If you bring in anybody to the organization that's going to be in close contact with the players, you would think that, like, I don't need the NFL to tell me, hey, maybe we should make sure he doesn't have that highly contagious disease that could like make us forfeit our season if we're not careful. I'm not saying that. I'm knocking anybody except for the fact that, like, I just don't agree. This is like more of a COVID statement, I guess. we don't need protocols. Like, there's a disease. You could get it. You could give it to other people. Like, you probably shouldn't be in close contact with anybody you don't really know that's not getting tested regularly, especially when they could just be like, blah, and in 15 minutes you can find out. Like it just seems wild. But I mean, if it could happen in the White House, it can happen in an NFL, in an NFL locker room. It's just, I don't know. I don't. NFL needs protocols, and I don't think that you guys, frankly, should be punished for it. I don't think you should have to forfeit games. Like, dude, I mean, quarantine everybody, get some non-positive tests. Everybody tests negative. Everybody's cool. Everybody's good. Nobody's got it. Nobody has adverse effects. Do what you need to do. It's one game that's been postponed. Like, you can play the game at some point or not if it doesn't have like an implication later on in the season. You know what I mean? Like, unless you two teams are literally fighting for a wild card, I don't really see the like, you could just kind of be like, that game didn't happen, or just call it a tie or whatever. Like, I don't think you should have to forfeit games. I don't think you should have to lose draft picks. I mean, like, because I don't think the NFL shouldn't have to tell you, and then you also shouldn't be like under the rule of the NFL. Who's going to come in and say, naughty, you got diseases and no draft picks? Like, it's just stupid.
Well, here's the thing, though, and this is why I'm mad at the NFL. Like, you can't, like, the president got popped. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in a pandemic. I mean, it's around. And I don't know. I mean, and of course, they're never going to release. I don't know if he did get tested and it was a false positive. I don't know if he went to some place and said, "Hey, I tested negative. We're good."
Sure.
2 days later, found out. So
that would imply that he knew he was positive and didn't do anything about it, though.
Right.
To me, like, let's just lay the ground rules. Let's not talk about grown men popping. Because they didn't eat a poppy seed bagel, and they popped on test. I'm just kidding though. But yes, it can happen. I feel like it's every time something like this happens, people act like, oh God, what's going on? It's the same shit. It's going on everywhere on the planet. Like, who's surprised? Who's surprised? You can't do a bubble with the NFL. We want to have football games. This is an effect of having football games, is that, like, every once in a while somebody's going to test positive. We didn't do this during flu season, and I know, and blah, blah, blah. Here goes an hour-long rant. But the point is, like, I just don't think that the NFL needs to be all up in your business. You should be able to handle yourself.
Yeah.
And also, I hate the Titans. So
obviously, I mean, yeah, we don't need to have the stipulations, right? You would think that, but obviously that's not the case, because some people are following protocols, some people aren't. What happened in the Titans situation, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. But let's actually move on to this week. Now, what's actually very, very interesting is you think the Titans got a free bye week, right? Looks like Jeffrey Simmons, and Daquan Evans are both out this week. You guys have the Bills. And you would think it's a free week. People will get healthy. It looks like the Titans' health is getting worse. So what is your outlook for this week? What are you thinking about this week for a defense that's already not playing very well and already banged up?
Well, I mean, let's be real. Everybody's defenses are not playing good, obviously, across the league. I mean, you got everybody scoring. You look at the Browns. Look at the Browns. Look at the Cowboys. Scoring 50 points. I mean, nobody's stopping really anybody other than the Colts. Colts defenses.
Because they're not playing nobody. But I get what you're saying. Go ahead. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see when they really get tested. But nobody's defense is playing good. So I'm not really. I think our defense will eventually get there. Now, as far as the COVID situation goes, what I'm worried about is what's going to be the long-term effects for the players coming off of COVID. Some people, have said that they lose breath still, and they can't catch their breath even after coming off of COVID. So what's the conditioning going to look like? I know that Jeffrey Simmons and Adam Humphries are not going to be playing. Those are two that I'm worried about, but AJ Brown will be back. So offensively, I'm not really worried about. I still don't know. We haven't heard if Adoree Jackson is going to be back.
Adoree Jackson comes back, that'll heal a lot of our wounds as far as corners go. But he's a speed guy. That being said, I don't know. We'll have to see with the Bills, man. Before this season started, I thought we would lose to the Steelers or the Bills, and I thought it would be to the Steelers. But now I'm not so sure now because Josh Allen he's lighting it up. So if we can't contain him, it's going to be a problem. So, but I'm still, to be honest, I'm still feeling pretty confident with my team. They've showed a lot of resilience this year. If this was last year or hell, the last 3 years, we probably should be 1-3. I mean,
So I see Flame Cherry has came onto the podcast, huh?
yeah. So
we invited him this week.
So this is I think this year, the other years we'd be like 1-2, 1-3, fighting towards the middle of the season to get 9-7 to make the playoffs. This year I'm just seeing some resilience. Hell, we get a field goal kicker, can't make no field goals, kick the game-winning field goals in every game. We got defense, can't stop anybody. Fourth quarter makes defensive turnovers to seal the game. So, I mean, yeah, we're lacking in some things, but at the same time, we're pulling it through. So, this will be another test. This Sunday, we'll see what happens.
Prediction,
I think we're going to make the game ugly. We're going to run the ball, try to keep Josh Allen on the side. So, I think it's going to be a long scoring game. And I think we pull it out. It's going to be like 17-14, something like that. It's not going to be a pretty game. Hopefully, if we don't make it pretty, we win. And that's what I'm hoping.
all right. Flame Cherry in the house, guys. Thank you, Flame. I'm waiting for the week a Titans fan actually predicts them to lose because they might actually be right every once in a while. Anyway, let's talk about the Colts. Chris, give us what it is. The Nick Foles led Bears, absolutely dominating performance by the defense. I'm going to say this real quick. It does not matter what anybody says. Easy schedule, blah, 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 blah. The one team the Colts shut down absolutely terrorized the Titans and the Texans. So don't give me all that. 19-11 over the Bears. 19-11 over the Bears. Go ahead and give it to me, Chris. What you got?
Well, I mean, you hit it on the head as far as, going into Chicago and being able to go against the same team that is now going to go against other teams. The turnaround was absolutely amazing because the one thing that you hear is, oh, yeah, well, you're definitely going to lose this week because this team is 3-0 and Nick Foles just lit it up and brought them back for a comeback victory. And then after we win 19-11 and our defense is pretty much dominant once again, then it's, oh, well, Nick Foles isn't that good. I'm just like, well, I need you to go ahead and pick a side of the fence because right now you're literally on top of it. And I'm pretty sure that hurts. But, I mean, let's just be completely honest. In terms of the Bears defensively, I mean, you got a T-Rex in Khalil Mack, and I mean that because he literally looks like a T-Rex. We have Danny Trevathan, Roquan Smith. Like, they have young pieces. You have Eddie Jackson in the secondary. And Phillip Rivers, which I've said all along, has been able to go ahead and pick those key guys. He's going to go for the taller wide receivers. He's going to go for the tight ends, and he goes for the undersized running backs. So Naeem Hines fits perfectly in that. Jonathan Taylor fits perfectly in that. Mo Ali Cox, as you've seen, has been lighting it up absolutely after, pretty much just having to be deferred behind Jack Doyle. And, I mean, even Pittman, when he, was actually healthy, was getting a lot of targets. So, I mean, the thing is, Phillip Rivers has a lot of tendencies that has been working for us. Against this defense, I mean, he had a pretty rough day. But, I mean, if we're going to call 190 yards in a TD a rough day against a team that, once again, was 3-0 going into today and just the week before through, I believe it was 3 touchdowns through the air to ice the game and go 3-0, and we held them to, I think, literally 1 touchdown the whole entire game. I mean, you can call it what it is, but, I mean, I'm just calling it dominance when it comes to defense. And I mean, once again, it's just like you see the defense showing up, but I think many people are used to it being the other way around, where the offense is doing way more and then the defense is literally just trying to get a stop. Now we have a defense that will show up, stop people from getting points. And I mean, even at least we just do the bare minimum offense, which you see with 1911. I mean, even so, it's just like, I think the one loss that we had was with the Jags. And even then, it's just like, I think it was the Jags just showed up and the Colts just took them too lightly. I mean, it is what it is. But the thing is, now you're in a rhythm. You're playing against tougher teams. But at the same time, now you see that this team can actually defend people. And the fact that DeForest Buckner is demanding double teams on our defensive line, and our D-line is just able to just wreak havoc along with our linebackers, along with Julian Blackman, who, by the way, big shout out to Julian Blackman, because he was out there looking like great value Ed Reed until he actually becomes, Julian Blackman's version of Ed Reed. But either way, I mean, the defense showed up big time. Our offense still a work in progress, but I mean, we're 3-1 from 0-1. So I mean, I'm completely okay with everything that I saw on Sunday.
So hold on, let me say something real quick. Cherry, Titans defense, are they trash? Be honest.
No.
Titans defense not trash? Oh, well, I can be honest about my team. The Texans
Everybody's defense. Hold on. Everybody's defense has been trash this year.
Okay.
Nobody's defense is where it needs to be. So I'm not
Exactly. So this whole the Vikings destroyed the Texans and Titans defense. Yeah, they're terrible. Of course they're going to destroy our defense. The Vikings is still a bad team. So
That's the problem.
This whole no one defense, yeah, against who though? Y'all didn't go against the Kansas City Chiefs. Y'all didn't go against the Baltimore Ravens.
That's
Y'all haven't
fine.
went up against nobody yet. So yes, there's no one defense. I applaud you for that. But it's like being the Texans being the divisional champs. It means nothing.
But
I will say this.
But you do see the trend of how the games are happening. You're talking about the same Vikings team who's trash, who literally had to come back against the Packers, which are no slouch on defense, to go ahead and still lose 43-34. And then the only team that they're actually not scoring in the 30s on just happens to be us when we hold them to 11.
Did you not watch that Green Bay and Minnesota game? Minnesota didn't start scoring until Green Bay was up by 35 to 10.
So that's fine.
And they're literally still scoring. So what I'm saying
garbage
is,
time.
They're absolutely capable. And then
we do the same thing.
All right.
Fellas,
And
we
even
have
if we're getting past that,
fellas.
and even if we're getting past that,
Hey guys.
they
Fellas.
played the Titans the week after they played us,
Fellas.
and then they still managed to go 30 again. So
Fellas.
was that a fluke?
Fellas, I got a couple group questions
Yeah.
or comments.
Go for it.
Jacoby Covington says, Bears offense is bottom 10, honestly. We will see what y'all do against the Browns. Hold on. Josh Sr. said Cherry is biased. And Sam said, that's me. That's me. If the Colts have the number 1 defense, why did you guys lose to a number 32 ranked team?
Because we
All right.
haven't won in Jacksonville in 68,000 years.
So
That's
so
fine.
let me address two things. When it comes to Covington, literally it's been blank team is borderline trash. Wait until you play blank team. We went into it with the Vikings. We went into it with the Bears. We went into it with every team, I think, except the Jets. And I'll also address the fact that, once again, I've said this from the very beginning, division games are played differently. You can sit there and say that
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that.
You can say,
I agree with that.
you could say the Jags team is trash all you want, but the thing is, the Jags beat us by 7 and they barely lost to the Titans by 3. A win is a win. I'll give them that regardless. But at the same time, it's just like the team that knows you best, that you play twice a year, where you're familiar with personnel, you're familiar with those specific teams, they play you a little bit differently because you see them a little bit more often.
Yeah, kind of like when Minshew, gave the Titans a colonoscopy last year in Jacksonville. I remember that. That's not too long ago.
That was Mariota. That doesn't count. We don't count any Mariota games.
Anyway.
Everybody chill. This whole so far I'm hearing people say well, everybody says this team's trash and that team's trash. Yes, it's called shit talking your opponents. That's what everybody does. They go, well, you ain't played nobody, and then they go, well, we played against them, and it's all a bunch of nothing. Y'all have the number one defense. Good for you. It's nice to have things. I understand that, but relax, because we're about to get into what would be the real season any other year, and frankly, teams get hot. And we're talking about Nick Foles. We're talking about Nick Foles, the guy that threw like 7 touchdowns 10 years ago, and then the next 3 games he threw 5 interceptions. It's Nick Foles. Nick Foles is up and down. Like, Nick Foles is he works against certain teams, and he doesn't work against other certain teams. Any team that plays the Jaguars, he doesn't work against those.
And let's be honest, if you're playing the Falcons, you're gonna come back and win. The Falcons gave up 3 leads this year.
Well,
so yeah.
The thing about the Vikings is that the Vikings depend so much on Dalvin Cook that they'll pound you and pound you and pound you and get up on you. But the second you start throwing the ball on them, if you get any kind of reversal of momentum, it's going to be really hard for them to stop you or to answer you, because they're not like a bang bang score team. They're like an attrition team.
Right. I agree with that.
The Bears, however, have a tall wide receiver. I don't know where did he come from. And then they have our asshole who can't decide whether he's good or not. And like sometimes, in fact, 2 times a day is how many times a broken clock is right. So the Bears can be the Bears for 10 fucking minutes, and then they're the Bears for the other 45 minutes. So this whole thing about it's like it's literally week 4. We're talking about like number 1 defense. If you play fantasy for at any point, you understand that number 1 defenses don't stay number 1 defenses for very long. There are very few defenses that go wire to wire. So you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to get you're going to get a little banged up here and there, and
you're not going to play teams like the Jets.
Very, very. Actually, let's actually segue that into they're going to get banged up. Chris, Darius Leonard, Bobby Okereke, who was a shocker, Anthony Costanzo hurt his ribs. That Colts defense, as great as it's been, that front 7 is basically the core of that defense, right?
Absolutely.
We'll hear about Darius tomorrow. Bobby had surgery today, and he's also day to day. So, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, I think with those 2 guys out, especially with those 2 linebackers, this defense could suffer the next few weeks. Thoughts?
Well, Darius Leonard is going to be a major impact. So, I mean, of course, we're waiting to hear on that, because, I mean, honestly, it's just like he's the heartbeat of that defense. So my thing is, there's a couple things when it comes to dealing with the Browns. So when you're dealing with the Browns, for one, we're not the Cowboys. The Cowboys have literally allowed all the teams they've played to score. I actually have a Pee Wee League team out here that I'm pretty sure already scored 3 touchdowns on the Cowboys, and it is only about 9:59 p.m. So the thing is, the Browns, as far as an indicator of what they can actually do, that team goes through Nick Chubb, and now Nick Chubb is gone. The biggest issue that we have is that there's a very capable backup with Kareem Hunt. Now, the thing is, if Bobby Okereke and Darius Leonard are out, it's going to be a long day. It is going to be a really, really long-ass day. Anthony Costanzo, that would be a tough one, because I don't even know who you plug in. Maybe throw LaRaven Clark on the end there, but I don't know. I mean, honestly, it's really just a lot of pressure is going to be on that D-line to deliver if for some reason Darius Leonard is out. Because other than that, I think you have Adams. I think you have to pull up EJ Speed from practice squad. Sky Moore. I don't even know if he's hurt or not right now. But I mean, it's going to be tough. I'm going to say that if Darius Leonard is able to play against that Browns team, I don't have a lot of faith in that Browns team myself, especially with Nick Chubb out. I want to say that it'll be a tough game, but I see us potentially coming out 21-17. If Darius Leonard and Bobby Okereke are both out and we don't have Costanzo in there, I think there's a chance that we probably end up dropping that one, maybe like I'm thinking 17-10.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I still just hear a bunch of excuses. You guys sound a lot like the Jaguars after week 1, but
Let's
You
put
know,
it
I'm
this
proud of
way:
you.
if you let the Browns or any other team run double reverse flea flickers and have wide receivers throwing touchdowns to each other, you're gonna lose. If you
Exactly.
and because it's the Browns, so like a whole lot of talking, a whole lot of talking.
Well, guys,
Nobody's
listen-
defense is as bad as Dallas's defense. That was horrible.
That's why
that was horrible.
that's why the point is don't give a lot of credit to Cleveland's offense because not a lot of teams are going to run 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then run a 45-yard touchdown. It's not going to happen on a wide receiver. It's just not going to happen.
You gotta make guys pay when they do that shit. They did that shit all game. So like,
Yeah, Dallas' defense is horrible.
like, oh, the Browns are on fire. Browns are on fire. That's 24 hours news bullshit. They were running Statue of Liberties back to back. They were running double reverse, flea flicker, throw it to, they're calling guys in from the 5th row to throw touchdowns. Like that's just an aberration. It's not going to happen that many times.
I appreciate
And of course,
it. I had
when the
Buccaneers,
Colts-
so I
when the
appreciate it.
They're gonna be like, see our defense, fuck. Defense is shit, yeah. Like, pass.
Well, I mean, it's just to combat the fact that, Cleveland's offense is God. So, it's just to combat that. So when we shut them out and put them on to only 10 points, that's probably what we told. Oh, Cleveland's offense isn't anything. Anyway, Stan, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah. Well, it's been a very interesting episode. I love having you guys on because of the banter, because of the shit talking. And good time. But we do encourage you guys to come in and join the Sports Host app like we were talking at the beginning. Like I said, they're looking for content creators. We are having another Madden tournament. Honestly, I don't know the date yet, but it will be within the next 3 weeks on both consoles. And it was originally for October 16th, but someone dropped the ball. That someone is me. So there will be a Madden tournament coming up. Please check the page for the announcements on it. Xbox, PS4, $0 entry, win up to $200. And we thank you guys for joining us this evening and hope you have a good night.
Fire
All right, guys.
Fire him. Don't point your finger at me, Sam.